All right, we've got to talk about it. I have put off talking about this because I heard rumours about it. Then I heard it was pretty much confirmed. And then I thought, right, I don't really want to talk about this because this is never going to happen in a month for Sundays. But the amount of people that have been talking about this, I just think to myself, right, this is involving my club. I've got to do this, right? I nailed my colours to the mast a long time ago. You guys know I'm a Sheffield United fan, hence the shirt. Why else would I be wearing one if I'm not? Now, this, of course, involves our cross-city rivals, Sheffield Wednesday, and obviously been going through a lot of financial turmoil right now. They've really been struggling, going to administration. Now, the process of buying that club is currently ongoing. I think on the 5th of December, the administrators will basically choose their preferred buyer, right? And I think they have like a dozen, around 10 different bids, right? Which is believable. I believe they probably do have that because there's a lot of potential in that club, right? Let's just take Rivalry to one side, right? I'm not going to take the mick. I'm going to be as respectful as possible here, despite what I'm wearing, right? There is big potential at that club. There absolutely is, right? There really, really is. They've got a big fan base. There is a big stadium there. It needs a lot of work doing to it, but it's a big stadium. They got potential for sure. So a lot of people will see that and think, even despite the debt, despite the turmoil, there is potential for a rebuild there. And it's to effectively get the club for nothing and take on the debt. So a lot of business people, I should say, will probably be interested in that. Why wouldn't they be? But I did not expect one of those interested parties to be the owners of Sheffield United. But here we are. Now, this is not the first time this has happened. There was talk about a merger between Sheffield United and Sheffield Wednesday. I don't know who the chairman of Wednesday was at the time, but there was talk of that in the early 2000s when Kevin McCabe was in charge of the club at Sheffield United. Now, there was talk about that, and it basically got shot down straight away because it's like the fans will never accept it, and we won't. If there is one thing that fans of Sheffield Wednesday and fans of Sheffield United can agree on, is that we hate each other. We hate each other. For me, the Steel City Derby is one of the great derbies in English football, not from an entertainment point of view. It's usually terrible to watch. I mean, the one the other day was one of the rare ones where there were actually quite a few goals. They're usually 1-0ers, 0-0s. They're usually terrible games to watch, but there is so much riding on it. There is. And I've wrote about it. I've done videos about it. It is one of the top ones for me. It is up there with Tyne Weir. It is up there with the Birmingham Derby as well between Aston Villa and Birmingham City. It is up there. It really, really is. And some people might disagree with that, but I've lived it. So for me, it doesn't get much bigger than that. But let's have a look at this story, guys. The story here on ESPN. I'll just go through it because, like I said, it's never going to happen. It's never going to happen. I feel a little, not betrayed, but this for me does highlight another problem when it comes to the hierarchy at United at the moment. I'll explain why. Let's go through this though. Administrators running Sheffield Wednesday received an inquiry to merge with cross-town rivals Sheffield United, according to reports. Wednesday, after previous owner Defon Chansiri placed the club into administration in October. The asking price is believed to be over £30 million. The Daily Mail, alright, not the most reputable source, and Sky Sports, that's better, have reported that one interested party had suggested an astonishing merger with arch rivals United, which was immediately rejected, unsurprisingly. While multiple publications, including the Daily Telegraph, claim the American owners of United, COH Sports sent an email to Wednesday administrators Begbiche Trainer inquiring about the sale. So yeah, literally this, can we buy the club? Can we merge them? I'm sorry, but how out of touch are our owners? Some people might say, oh, well, they're just joking. They're just taking the mick. No, they're not. They're busy people. This is not something you joke about, either in public or in private when you're meant to be a serious businessman, right? Or a serious consortium in our case, of course. You don't do that unless you actually mean it. That approach was not denied by COH Sports when they addressed fans in a statement on Wednesday morning, which reiterated their ambition to take the club back to the Premier League. The merger, meanwhile, has not been ruled out as a spoof by Sky, and it would reportedly not be supported by the EFL or the new football regulator regardless. Thank goodness for that. some common sense from the EFL. My God, what kind of weird situation are we in right now? Sheffield United manager Chris Wilder was asked for his thoughts on the reports after his side 3-0 victory against Portsmouth on Wednesday. He said, quote, "My job is hard enough in terms of where we are at and where we're trying to get to, and everything will be dealt with by the Chief Executive Officer, Steve Bettis, and the owners. But as far as I'm concerned, I'm absolutely, fully, 100% concentrated and committed to looking after the players and getting the team hopefully up the table and into a position where we want to be and should be." End quote. Sky Sports have also reported that COH Sports are not among the 5 potential buyers who Wednesday's administrators are progressing the process with. Wednesday's hope to grant exclusivity to a buyer is by December 5th. Co-administrator Chris Wigfield said last Friday that 12 parties who have demonstrated proof of funds of £50 million have already begun granted access to the club's data room. It has been reported by The Telegraph that former Newcastle owner Mike Ashley has made an offer of around £20 million. Of course he's going with a Sports Direct offer there, you know, 40 million pounds minimum. Here's 20. Oh my God, if he takes over Wednesday, that would be humorous. That'd be humorous, that's all I'll say. The Owls were hit with a 12-point penalty after entering administration on October 24th. Until Wigfield, a Wednesday season ticket holder since 1984, came in. Players' wages had been delayed for 5 of the previous 7 months and then there's just a bunch of stuff about the situation that Wednesday are in, We've already covered that in depth many, many times, guys. But yeah, I mean, for me, this really does. Oh, God, it just never. Like I say, it would just never work. It would just never work. Like I say, we hate each other, right? We can agree on that. It just wouldn't be practical on so many different levels as well. Like you know, Wednesday fans would never go and support a team at Bramall Lane. And what colours would we play in? Would it be red and blue? Would it be purple stripes? Like what would it be? It'd never work. It'd never work. And when was the last time we had a merger between 2 professional clubs in England? When was the last time that happened? Has that ever happened? I know that there's been loads of mergers in the early days of football, right? Getting teams together and stuff. But when was the last time that 2 teams in the professional leagues of English football merged? When was that? It's never happened in my lifetime. I don't think it's happened in the vast majority of people's lifetimes. I can't think of one. Get your thoughts in the comments, guys. Correct me if I'm wrong on that one, but there's nobody jumping out to me. Like, it's very rare that teams even change their names. The last time that happened was Wimbledon changed their names to Milton Keynes Dons. And now there's a new AFC Wimbledon that's in the Football League as well. I mean, it's bizarre, guys. It's a bizarre thing that's even been thought of. And I genuinely do know some people that say, obviously they will, they won't want this to happen, but I know some people that have said that, the only way for the Sheffield teams to compete with the big boys now is to either get taken over by a foreign nation state or for them to merge and become a one-city club like Newcastle, like Leeds, to get that kind of support and fan base behind it. But I think football's moved on so much since then. I don't think that even if they combine both clubs, I don't think that'd be a guarantee of being in the top flight of English football and competing in the Premier League. Certainly not competing in the, for the European places at the top. I don't see it. And, you look at our performances over the last 30 years. Wednesday haven't been a top flight club since 2000. 99-2000 was when they got relegated. Yeah, Sheffield United have been in the Premier League sporadically, but we've only ever survived in the Premier League twice. That was the first season in 92-93 and 2019-20 we finished 9th. Every other season we've been in the Premier League since it got rebranded, we've been relegated. So we don't deserve to be there. We don't have a God-given right to be there. Neither club does. They don't. They just don't offer their performances over the last 30, 40 years. They just don't. The last time that either team won the top flight was in the 30s. I think Wednesday won it in the 30s. Something like, it's been like 100 years. So we have no God-given right to be up there. We don't deserve to be up there at times. We really don't. Especially them lot. They haven't been there in most fans' lifetimes at this point, Last time they were in, it was in sepia tone. But anyway, I'll stop rubbing it in. The only other way, right? The only other way this would ever work is if Wednesday, when they go down to the conference, when they go down to the National League in a few years' time, right? They can be our feeder club. But we don't want that anyway, because their academy's rubbish. So anyway, that's enough. I'm not going to go any further, because I'm just going to annoy him. I'm just going to annoy him on it. But yeah, it'll never happen for so many reasons. And again, that is something that we can definitely both agree on when it comes to both sides of Sheffield. We hate each other, and we're never going to merge. Never. It just never happen. Thoughts in the comments below, guys. I'll see you soon. Have a good one. Up the Blades!